I never thought my life would turn into something straight out of a bad soap opera. But here I am, sharing my story with the internet, because frankly, I still can't believe it happened. My husband, the man I built a life with, left me for his mistress. That was painful enough, but nothing could have prepared me for what happened next, when she showed up at my home with their kids, demanding what she thought was hers. Let me rewind a bit. My name is Emily, and for 12 years, I was married to Mark. Our relationship wasn't perfect, but I believed we had something solid. We met in college, struggled through our early years together, and eventually built a comfortable life. I supported him when he started his business, even putting my own career on hold to help him. We had a son, Oliver, who was my entire world. But somewhere along the way, Mark decided that wasn't enough for him. He started seeing Vanessa, a younger woman who worked at his company. I found out when he came home late one night smelling like her perfume. At first he denied it, but the evidence piled up. Hidden credit card charges, late-night texts, and eventually a confession. He told me he had fallen in love with her. The words stung, but what hurt more was realizing that he had checked out of our marriage long before he admitted it. The divorce was brutal. He wanted to move in with Vanessa immediately, leaving me to pick up the pieces. I fought for our son, our house, the life I had spent years building. In the end, I got full custody, and Mark left with his new family. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. One Saturday morning there was a knock at my door. I expected it to be a delivery or a neighbour, but instead I found Vanessa standing there looking every bit like she belonged. Behind her, 2 kids, her kids, clutched their backpacks. She smiled, but it wasn't a friendly smile. It was the kind of smile that made my stomach turn. "Emily," she said smoothly, "we need to talk." I folded my arms. "I have nothing to say to you." She glanced past me, looking into my home like she was appraising it. "Actually, you do. See, Mark and I have fallen on some hard times. The business isn't doing as well as he hoped, and we need a place to stay. This house, it was once Mark's too. We think it would be best if we moved in." I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was absurd. "You must be joking." She wasn't. Mark had lost a significant portion of his income in the divorce, and his business was struggling. Vanessa, used to the cushy lifestyle Mark promised, was now looking for a way to maintain it. And what better way than to take what was once hers through him? She acted like I should be reasonable, like I should just hand over my home because it was fair. But I wasn't about to roll over. Vanessa tried everything: manipulation, guilt, even bringing up my son. "Oliver should have his father around," she said sweetly. "Think of how much better it would be if we were all under one roof." That's when I realized she wasn't just here for a temporary stay. She wanted to replace me. She wanted my home, my life, my stability. But she had underestimated me. I refused. That's when she tried another tactic: the legal route. Suddenly, Mark was pushing to modify the custody arrangement, arguing that their home, my home, would be a better environment for Oliver. I lawyered up immediately. If they wanted a fight, they were going to get one. I wasn't just protecting a house. I was protecting my dignity, my child, and everything I had worked for. Meanwhile, I had to juggle work, single motherhood, and the emotional toll of this battle. My best friend Sarah was my rock through it all. She helped me stay strong, reminding me that I had every right to stand my ground. At the same time, I started seeing someone new, Jake, an old friend who had always been there. Unlike Mark, he saw my worth. But I was hesitant. Could I trust again? Could I let someone in after everything? Things came to a head when Vanessa showed up again, this time with Mark. He looked defeated, but she was fuming. "You're being selfish," she spat. "You don't deserve all of this." I stood firm. "I earned this. You don't get to take it from me." That's when the real bombshell dropped. Mark confessed. He and Vanessa were done. The stress, the financial issues, the reality of their relationship had finally caught up to them. She wasn't in love with him. She was in love with the lifestyle he could no longer provide, and now she had nowhere to go. I could have gloated, I could have rubbed it in. But I didn't. I simply shut the door in their faces. The custody case fell apart when Mark failed to prove anything substantial. My home remained mine, and for the first time in a long time, I felt truly free. I focused on myself, on Oliver, on building a future that didn't revolve around someone else's choices. As for Jake, he stayed. Slowly, I let my walls down, because sometimes after the worst betrayals, we find the most unexpected happiness. In the end, Vanessa wanted my life, but I wasn't about to let her take it. And as she walked away, defeated, I realized something. I was stronger than I ever knew.